Hey y'all, this is Vienna with Glitter Baddies Boutique. Welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, I'm going to show you guys a new style of tumbler that I came across and I'm really excited to show you guys. This is an ornament style tumbler. I'll go into the details throughout the video, but let's get into it. So I'm actually using a different style of tumbler. I don't normally carry these in my shop. This is a Capture brand tumbler from Amazon. I will link it below. It is a great tumbler for starters. If you need a tumbler to practice on, I would highly recommend these. I personally have not had any issues with them. The only thing is the bottoms are a little harder to seal because they are a little more flat than the dupe tumblers I normally use in my videos. But like I said, totally great to start with, or maybe just have a more affordable option for your shop or just as gifts. So continuing on, I used a 5/16 drill bit just like I normally do with all of my other snow globe tumblers. And instead of going all the way through, because this tumbler is a little more thinner or more fragile than the dupe tumblers or the Starbucks brand tumblers that I normally use, I didn't drill all the way through. I kind of stopped halfway through and then grabbed my weeding tool to pick out the rest of that plastic. I didn't want to cut all the way through and risk cracking the rest of the cup, so that's why I did that. And you can also use a hot fix tool, whatever you use to cut your holes. Basically, all you need is just one hole for this tumbler. You don't need two. So as mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is a ornament style tumbler. So basically, during Christmas time, a lot of crafters like to use this polyacrylic. It is a water-based polyurethane, so basically a sealant, but it can also be used as an adhesive. You fill your ornaments with it, and once it dries, then you can apply your glitter and the glitter fills the walls of your ornament. So basically it's the same concept here. I'm gonna put a generous amount into my tumbler, and then as you can see here, I'm basically just turning my tumbler in a rotating motion. That way I can get all that polyacrylic around the walls of the tumbler. I kind of hold it in a downward direction, and if you need a little bit more, you can feel free to add more. You can use a syringe to apply the polyacrylic, but I just grabbed a sauce bottle because it's what I had available to me. So whatever works for you, just get it in and just make sure that all of the walls are completely covered with the polyacrylic. Any part that is not covered with that adhesive or sealant is gonna be blank. So you do not wanna have any missing or gap pieces when we go to apply our glitter. So just make sure it's all covered. And once you are happy with the coverage, I like to lean mine at an angle and drain it into a cup and wait until it dries clear. You can see here, it's kind of milky at first and then it dries clear like this. It takes about anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. It's really not a long waiting period for it to dry. And now we're gonna get into the fun part. We're gonna add our glitter. I like to tape off my tumblers to apply my glitter. I'm gonna be using Malibu Yellow XL from It's Pretty Personal. This was actually a brand new bottle. I had never used it before, and I actually got it like last summer. So I don't even know if they have this color available anymore, but it's this nice bright neon yellow. I thought it was really pretty, kind of reflective pieces in there as well. And I used my hand just to shake it up at first, and I noticed it was taking quite a bit of time. And I will say not all the glitters do that. I think it just depends on the cut that you use. Like a fine glitter would be a lot easier to put in, but I was having some issues here, so I grabbed my back massager that I use for my rhinestone tumblers and I used it to apply my glitter and it fell right in. It was really helpful. So personally, I like to put a pretty good amount of glitter inside just to make sure that I really have enough and I'm not gonna have to keep going back and forth with trying to make sure I have enough glitter, because once we are done adding all of our glitter in, we need to shake up the tumbler. So I applied a generous amount, I would say about a third of the bottle, but I will show you towards the end that that is definitely not as much as I ended up needing total. But basically, once you add your glitter in, you're gonna roll your tumbler around. I like to roll it in between my hands, just shake it up, and we're gonna be basically applying that glitter onto the walls of the tumbler. So I mentioned on my TikToks and people asking me about these, I really think this is a great alternative for those who are struggling with snow globes or just in general having issues with them. I know they're not easy to do, but this is a really nice alternative, especially for those customers who maybe don't want the flow. They just like the glitter to be shown, and on this one, there's no flow. There's going to be no solution added to this. So Here I am shaking up the tumbler, making sure that the glitter is completely covering those walls. It looks absolutely gorgeous. This is a little bit more of a transparent glitter. I do have a video on my TikTok with another tutorial, my first tutorial on this, and I used a darker glitter and you literally can't see on the inside of the tumbler. It's really nice, super cute, but this is a really nice color and I think it complements the decals that I'm going to use later. You'll see here in a bit. But once you've shaken your tumbler and you're happy with the glitter coverage, you're gonna go ahead and dump out the glitter. That was probably the hardest part of this entire cup, was getting all that glitter out. So I mentioned in the beginning, you don't need 2 holes, but if you feel more comfortable doing 2 to help get all that glitter out, you're more than welcome to do it. It did take me a little bit, but the back massager helped. So anyways, I got all the excess glitter out of the tumbler, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start sealing my tumbler as normal. I did still use a mini glue stick. That way, when I go in with my UV resin, the UV resin has something to hold on to instead of just sinking into the cup, which I wanted to avoid. And a little tip, if you have issues cutting your mini glue sticks down to size, basically I plugged it into the hole there and then I just grabbed my X-Acto knife and turned it. That way it got a nice, even, smooth cut on that mini glue stick and it's flush with the bottom of your tumbler. So now that I have the hole plugged, I went ahead and just applied some UV resin down, and then I'm going to mix it with some glitter to match the tumbler. The UV resin that I'm using is from Resin Rockers. I will link them as well as all the other materials and suppliers that I'm using down below in the description. So make sure y'all go check them out and use my discount code so y'all can save. And as I've mentioned, this is not a normal snow globe because there's no solution involved here. So normally I would plug the hole with UV resin first and then seal that, make sure there's no leaks. But since we're not dealing with any of that at all, I just went straight into that second step of applying glitter to the bottom to save some time and save some materials because I don't have to worry about it leaking, which is really nice. So here I am just mixing up that UV resin and that glitter, making sure that the tumbler bottom is completely smooth. You do not want to have any lumps. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is a Capture brand tumbler, so the bottoms are almost flat compared to the Starbucks or the dupe tumblers that are out there. So once I'm happy with how smooth and flush that is, I do apply some heat with a lighter. That's going to help settle that glitter down by heating up that resin, making it a little more loose, and that also helps pop any air bubbles in your UV resin. Once I've done that and I'm happy with how it looks, I cure that for 120 seconds. Also, pro tip, you can also cure UV resin outside for those of y'all who don't know. So I did end up saving some time and skipped my UV light, and I put it right there on my driveway for about 1 minute. It probably takes less time to do it outside in direct sunlight like that. But anyways, so once that is cured, I went ahead and applied my care instructions. I absolutely love these little stickers. I ordered these custom done with Critter Cup Customs from Etsy, so y'all can go check her out. She does these custom stickers with your business logo and then the care instructions around it, which I love. So after applying my sticker, I applied just another thin layer of that UV resin, again smoothing it out and still applying some heat. That's gonna, again, help smooth out that resin, making sure that you get a nice flush bottom and also help pop any air bubbles so you get a nice glossy glass-like finish. And for that final coat, I did again take it outside and cured it. It takes about a minute if you're in direct sunlight. The UV rays out here are pretty rough. I'm in Texas, for those of y'all who don't know that, and our UV index the other day was like 8, so it's extremely high. So if you're gonna try curing UV resin outside, just make sure it is like the highest point of the day or basically just direct sunlight, and kind of play with it a little bit on the time. But for me, it only took about a minute. So just a little tip, not required or necessary, but it's definitely a faster option if it's available to you. If not, your UV lamp will work just as well. So once I've had this cup sealed up, I'm going to be applying some decals. I have mentioned these all over my TikTok, but I have not done them here yet. So these are pre-printed, pre-cut, laminated, permanent vinyl tumbler wraps that I get from Cuts Vinyl. There are some other shops out there, but I order most of mine from Cuts Vinyl. And as you saw in that last clip, basically I just removed the white or negative spaces from the vinyl sheet, and these are good to go. That's literally how easy these are to use. I use them on my Starbucks cups. I use them on tumblers. I use them even on resin tumblers. I've even gone as far as putting them on glass mugs before. So they are super helpful, way less time consuming than if you were to layer your own vinyl, which, fun fact about me, I cannot layer vinyl. I can do maybe a circle and that's about it. I cannot layer ever, never got good at it. And these, I think, are just a better option for those of y'all like me who can't layer and want a really nice design. So make sure you go check them out. So continuing on, I did have some lifting here where I didn't layer it correctly. Again, I really like these wraps because they're not hard to work with in a sense. They are permanent. So once you lay them down correctly, they will stay adhered for quite a long time as long as they are cared for properly. But, you know, sometimes I mess up. So I'm able to grab my weeding tool or my X-Acto knife and carefully, as you can see, I'm working here carefully to kind of lift those up and readjust them because I had some air bubbles and lifting in certain parts. So just, if you're going to do that, be careful because you can rip it, and once it's ripped, it's done. But anyways, I just wanted to show y'all this portion because I'm not perfect. I mess up a lot and I'm not afraid to show that to you guys. So I hope y'all appreciate that because I hate showing my mistakes sometimes. But anyways, here I am. I finally got it lifted up. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten that back out. And I grabbed my weeding tool again to help kind of fix that up and make sure that those little bubbles go away, any wrinkles or anything like that. But these are laminated, so just be careful to not mess up that layering because you can mess up the whole decal that way. But the nice thing is you can piece together these decals as needed. So if you decided you don't want that one flower, you can just get rid of it and you're good to go. And anyway, so here's the final result coming up in this next clip. I absolutely love these tumblers. I've made a few already, and I hope this tutorial was helpful. Again, I will link all of the suppliers and supplies that I used to do these. This probably took me about 25 minutes. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button to get notified of any future videos. I have some really good ones coming up. And if you haven't already, make sure you'll join our Snow Globe, Tumblers, and More group on Facebook. We have a lot of great creators out there who are willing to help and support you. And check out my other social medias for more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.